welcome back to the FIA World Rallycross Championship. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the noise of a World Rallycross car firing up the engines because we are racing. And don't forget, today is an entire round of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. So by the end of today, we will have a round winner, and tomorrow we will have 2 round winners. As you can see, the conditions are mixed. It's turned warm and sunny, but the clouds are very, very ominous. And I think a lot of people are looking carefully at engineering data and radars to see what they need to do to get the cars tuned up, ready for qualifying 2 for World Rallycross cars. But brand new for 2020 is Project E, and someone who is driving Project E is Ken Block. Now, one of the things about this car is it won't make any of those noises because Project E is an all-electric rallycross series. And Ken, A, great to see you in Sweden. How did you get here? And B, tell us about this car.
Yeah, very happy to be here. It was quite an adventure to get here. But, you know, I was able to come to one of my favorite tracks in the world and drive something completely new. So, yeah, pretty excited to be here.
Now, it's an electric rallycross car built by Stad in Austria, first of its kind. Give us a sense of what it feels like to drive and what it means for the future.
Yeah, well, I'm very used to driving a Ford Fiesta, but this Ford Fiesta is unlike anything I've ever driven before. You know, the chassis is one of my favorite race cars to race, but now there's a lot more weight, and the weight's in places that I'm not used to. So it drives much more like a mid-engine car. Once you get it rotated, it doesn't like to bite and come back. But once you have it straight, you get on the gas, it really accelerates. Quite nice, very, very impressive.
And just for, you know, any skeptics out there, it's 612 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, 150 miles an hour top speed. I mean, it is a supercar beast.
Yeah, but it's unlike driving any other supercar I've driven here before because there's no gearbox. So it's all about throttle control. It's all about setup and learning that setup. And before this morning, I only had 20 laps driving it. So still learning. And this morning it was wet. That was a whole new adventure. So it's quite fun. I'm enjoying being part of this sort of new technology, new frontier type thing. Just wish I had a little more time in the car before I'm out on track racing.
Well, it looks like it'll be dry this time, or maybe not.
Yeah, it's Sweden. Who knows? You got 10 minutes, it'll be totally different.
Well, thanks for that, Ken, and good luck this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that's Ken Block. So coming up later in this live stream, you will see the Project E cars of both Ken Block and Herman Neubauer and Natalie Barrett racing against each other, which will sound very different to the cars we're about to see in qualifying 2 for the World Rallycross Championship. And to talk you through what happened in qualifying 1 should be Andrew Coley and Dan Rook.
Well, Q1 took place in very mixed conditions, and there you can see a disaster for Andreas Backerud in the very first race of the season. Had to dip the clutch at the line. We're not sure if he stalled or not, but either way, he lost a lot of time. Completely opposite result for Christian Sabo out front. He's running for set promotion in a third Hyundai. He won't be scoring teams points, unlike Gronholm behind him, but he did beat Gronholm. It was Sabo who had the time to beat for everybody else. On to race 2, the World Rallycross champion Timmy Hansen running that number 1 on the car. 21, of course, in the past, 1 now. Wasn't P1, though, into turn 2. Anton Markland in the Bilstein GCK McGann doing a brilliant job to get the whole shot. Track was drying, but you can see how damp it is, and that's really key when we get onto the races later in the session. Timmy Hansen went to the Joker. He was right behind Anton, but Anton then gapped him over the course of the next couple of laps. And there you can see the resultant merge towards the end of the race. Anton Markland with a clear win over the world champion. Race 3. Timur Timosyanov in the Hyundai. Looked like he took second gear very early. Watch Bachuska now. There's a bit of contact a couple of times into Timur's front right wheel, and unfortunately that resulted in broken suspension for the Russian. So Timur went to the Joker early. Bachuska went with him. They're in a little race together while Sebastian Eriksson in the Honda was chasing Kevin Hansen out front. Here you can see the wheel moving backwards and forwards in the wheel arch. There were sparks flying as the various parts of the car were coming into contact with things they're just not meant to touch. So problems for Timosyanov, and in the end, he had to park the car in the gravel trap at the side of the road when the suspension finally broke. Kevin Hansen took the flag, but there was a delay while they recovered Timosyanov's car, and that meant when these guys came out, the track was really dry. Johan Kristoffersson, the double World Rallycross champion, getting the whole shot from Robin Larsen, who won a race earlier here this year in the Nordic Series. Larsen went joker early, leaving Eckstrom a few meters, maybe a couple of seconds behind Kristoffersen at one point in the race, but he hunted him down. Ekstrom taking tenths out of the World Rallycross champion of 17 and 18, the 16 champion chasing him down. Look at that, 2 previous World Rallycross champions. 2 titles for Kristoffersen, 1 for Eckstrom at the top of the table. Larsen third, Scheider fourth. Those guys were all in that last dry race. Then Markland, Kevin Hansen, Sebastian Eriksson, Timmy Hansen down in 8th. On to the second page, we can see Sabo, Gronholm, Doran and Bachuska are currently inside the top 12, but Doran's car caught fire in the paddock after Q1, and there's a big question mark over whether or not he's going to make it out. So Backerud in 14th place has some work to do. Remember, there are only 3 qualifying sessions. He needs to get that car through to the semi-finals. Right, Q2. Q1 finished about 5 minutes ago. Okay, I know it's 15 minutes, but we've run downstairs, we've got our grids, we've grabbed a tea. Hopefully you guys have done the same thing. I think you're going to be glued to the sofa this weekend. Sorry, I kind of hope it's raining wherever you are, because then it just feels like you can sit indoors and watch Rallycross. We're going to be getting these guys off the line pretty shortly. We've got Backerud, Parsons and Shisrit and Timosyanov. All these guys had their own issues, Dan, but for me the biggest losers were Backerud and Timosyanov.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Andreas can get that start sorted out this time around. Of course, he's in the same grid slot position, but
a lot drier,
yeah. And the same for Timosyanov. He needs to watch out for the other Clio on his inside on the way into turn 1 now as well.
Right, let's get it underway then. Q2 race 1. Andreas Backerud, 14th position. There's only 3 qualifying sessions. He's got to get a good result here. Yanni Parsonen, Gilan Shishirit and Timosyanov. New boots for Backerud, Parsonen, 2 on the outside for Timosyanov, 1 for Shishirit. All these guys took dry tyres in Q1. The only person we think who took wets was Larsen. So these guys have actually thrown new tyres on. So Backerud, 2 sets of tyres for the race meeting today. Might as well get them on there and try and get the result. This time he gets a good start. Andreas Backerud on the inside, Parson, those level with him on the run to the first corner. Backerud not giving up the place and then has to. Backerud down in P3s alongside Timosyanov. Andreas Backerud, is he going to go joker? He does, but he's in behind Gilan Shishirit. So Backerud in behind the GCK team boss. Shishirit running for the uncorrupted squad in the Clio, and that's not the start that Backerud needed, Dan, for me.
No, not what he needed at all, but I think he's probably made the best decision there out of the 2.
Timosyanov looking up the inside of Parsonen. Sorry to interrupt, Parsonen's in front of Timmer.
Yeah, so Timmer not getting the start he wanted either. Parson just got that thing off the line, and now he's way out in front with Timosyanov, looking for gaps left, right and centre, but still can't quite find a way past.
These guys have got, particularly Timmer, of course, who had a DNF. Timmer is way off the back of the pack in terms of points in qualifying, and he has got to try to find a way past and take a win here. Parsonen's quick though. Timmer, is he going to go joker? He does. Timosyanov goes joker, so watching Timosyanov with Shishirit, and Backerud's got past Shishirit. So did Shishirit let Backerud go? Is Backerud getting out in front of Timmer? He's not. Timosyanov shuts the door on Andreas Backerud. So Shishirit, would he have let him go down?
I mean, probably not at these early stages. It's only the first race weekend.
Is there a problem for Shishirit? He's going a little slowly in the back. Well, either way, Backerud's in front of him. Lap times look okay, Dan.
Yeah, the first sector, though, for Shishirit is way off the back of Andreas. I think maybe there must be a problem there.
So look in the background for Shishirit, yeah, definitely. So we're right, Shishirit's got a problem. He's off the back of the pack. Parsonen now. Parsonen's going to have to go joker on this or the next lap. And Timosyanov and Backerud may well be hoping that he goes early, but he's not going to. He's going to take the standard lap. So Parsonen, they're doing some of their own things with this car, running the team out of Finland. We're hearing maybe a drive shaft for Shishirit. Either way, so now Parsonen, look, Timosyanov's up with them. And then now they're going to lose more time, Dan. They needed to get that start right. Yeah, exactly. And they just didn't quite get that to happen. So, I mean, they've only got 1 more qualifying session to try and nail the start and make up some time here. Timmer all over him. That's 5th, 6th gear down the hill. Parsonen runs a little bit deep. Timmer having a look around the outside of the jump. Could be contact. There wasn't. Timosyanov gets a pass on Parsonen. Parson has been a little bit wild in some of the corners, and he'll learn to drive it more tidily down and save time. But Timosjanov out front, back on P3. If you compare this to a clean run for the top guys, this is not going to be the fastest time of the session for me.
No, not at all. And if the weather holds up as well, we've got the fastest guys going last, and the track will be even drier again. So it's really not what these guys wanted. They're starting their campaign really on the back foot right now.
There is Gilad Shisharit. Got a warning in Q1 for touching the track markers. So least of his worries now. Not a million miles away. I don't. It's 4 seconds or 3 seconds off the back of Parsonen.
Timosjanov really leaving Andreas Bakkerud behind. Look at the gap. It's coming right up.
So Timmer, what are the lap times like? Timmer takes it. What's the time like? I suppose 3:08.8. The winning time, what was it? 3:05.
3:05, and the track will be drier again.
It was at 3:05.7. Lap times were in the 44s for Eckstrom and Kristoffersen. So yeah, we're a little way off that pace. Well, not so far. We're 2-3 tenths off the fastest lap times at the end there. So Timosjanov did bring it back at the end of race 1. Bakkerud, Parsonen and Shisharit. Take another look at the start. So Bakkerud gets away nicely, but Parsonen, look, great start from that car. Pulls another gear. You saw the nose of the car just flick up for a split second. Bakkerud thought better of getting up the inside of Shisharit. Shisharit goes Joker and Bakkerud goes with him. We did this time, I think, with Matthias Eckstrom so far. Bakkerud did a 45.1 as well. So the lap times are there for both Bakkerud and Timosjanov, but they need to do 4 of them, and they need to get the start right.
Timmer, you needed a good result. How was it?
Yeah, the run was good. Actually, the first one was disappointing, first qualifying. Now we win it, and I feel that the pace is really much higher. But I was a little bit struggling on some places, but I feel like this is nice. This is nice to drive, actually. That is really good. Finally, we are back and we can smile over this one, because now it's racing actions, and I'm really happy. Like the car is really good feeling.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So Timmer really happy, down to me, most happy there with the settings on the car.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. They're chasing the settings all weekend, aren't they? Because the conditions are changing all the time. And with him going in the race before, these two guys we're seeing now line up, he can also relay back to the team what he's just learned from the track as well. So that's an advantage to Gronholm and Szabo.
Nice bit of wastegate chatter for Gronholm there as he calls up to the line. Love it.
Car impressions with Andrew
Well,
Cody.
I could do a better one than that, but I don't think it'll work on the microphone. We did actually do a session once where we asked all the drivers to do an impression of anti-lag and wastegate.
Yeah, you made me the first person.
Oh, I did say Lytton Hill wasn't it? Yeah.
That was embarrassment.
Well, there you go. Now you're on the TV team, mate. Hey, look where it led you.
Can't even hide
Down
from it now.
down a terrible career path.
I think it was the impression. It just won you over, didn't it?
Right, we got 4 cars on the line. Let's have a look. Q2, race 2, Christian Szabo, Niklas Gronholm, Rokas Baciuska and Rennie Munich. You can see they're 9th to 13th after Q1. They need to be higher up than that to guarantee a place in the semi-finals. Well, the race previous to this one, Timosjanov very happy with the settings on his car. Have they done the same for Szabo and Gronholm? Oh, sideways for Szabo off the line. Gronholm gets better traction, going to shut the door on the man who was on the slot number 1. Baciuska around the outside. Szabo's dropped back, he's sideways in turn 2 as well, dives straight for the Joker. So Szabo makes the best of that. Munich's gone in with him, and I think that was the right decision. Out front, it's Gronholm leading from Baciuska.
Yeah, GRX splitting the strategy there, which is exactly what they needed to do. They don't want to be holding each other up. Niklas is going to be hoping for a better run here. He was only 10th after the first qualifying session, but now he's got that clear air. We can finally see what pace that Hyundai has.
Well, we've seen the Hyundai on track earlier this year, again, at this track. He came and did the double header for Nordic, and they were working on the dampers, but it didn't strike me, Dan, that the car was as good as it was last year. Now, obviously, they've changed dampers because they know that once they dial it in, it will be better. That's why you do it. You know, they've gone to a damper supplier that they feels better. Fine. But it does take time to get those settings right, and you know, in a season where 4 rounds are happening in 8 days, they've got to nail it.
Yeah, exactly, and because you know,
Baciuszka coming in just in front of Sabo. Nice call by GCK, uncorrupted.
Yeah, perfect call there. They've got the timings nailed, haven't they? They know their Joker lap times.
Very nice indeed. So that was a really good Joker lap call for Baciuszka. It's going to cost Sabo time for the looks. Sabo looks that little bit quicker, but Baciuszka's nailed that Joker. So now it's about Gronholm. Dan, back to Gronholm. We were talking about getting the settings right. We know this car. For me, the GRX Hyundai was the best car last year. So they've changed the dampers. Now they've got to dial it in.
Yeah, so they've got to dial it in. Of course, their settings they've got from their last dampers won't match the ones on the new dampers. Various clips will change different settings. So it's just seat time really in the cars and working out what works what way. So they're probably still working on that now because they haven't had a chance to have too much testing.
Niklas Gronholm's just done the fastest lap of the weekend, 44.3 seconds for Niklas Gronholm. We're seeing the battle for P2, 3 and 4. Gronholm is 5.8 seconds down the road. There it is. Edoc's fastest lap of the day. That's half a second quicker than Eckstrom went. So the track, Dan, or Gronholm, a bit, maybe both, a bit quicker.
Yeah, probably a mixture. I mean, Gronholm's now got confidence, he's out in front, whilst of course these guys are scrapping in behind him. But yeah, the track, we can see it's not just one line that's dry now. And
probably not what Timozyanov and Bakarud want to see. 44.373, he's done 2 in a row. Gronholm's back on it. Maybe they have nailed the settings, or certainly in the dry. Niklas Gronholm is absolutely flying. The gap is just growing lap after lap. He's just gone 2 fastest laps of the weekend in a row.
Nearly a second a lap quicker than Baciuszka.
Incredible. So Baciuszka may be holding Sabo up, maybe not. But Niklas Gronholm about to set the fastest time of the weekend so far. Here he is, through the right-hander. He's going to come up and over the big old jump sideways. Gets it straight. On the brakes now, keep it tight. He was hitting that curve this morning. It was costing him time in the wet. It's not costing him time in the dry. It's a 47.1 for his Joker. And it's a 3:03.4, fastest time of the weekend for Niklas Gronholm. He's gone 2.3 seconds faster than they went in Q1. So there's your benchmark. Niklas Gronholm, 3:03.488, fastest time of the weekend so far. Baciuszka, Sabo and Rennie Munich. Here's where they go. 3 to the top of the table. Look, Munich drops into P5. Andreas Bakarud, he's only 6th quickest. And we've got 2 races of theoretically faster drivers still to come. So Bakarud, the runner-up in the World Championship last year, will be hoping he can make it through to the semis. Another look at the start. So Gronholm, look at this. Sabo's really squirrely off the line, Dan. You just see he loses a car length instantly.
Yeah, that could just be a little bit too much wheel spin and then diving out for the Joker lap there, and he was already in behind Baciuszka as well, so it just made perfect sense to go there.
Yeah, definitely. You said about them splitting the strategy, and that's not necessarily obviously a decision they made before the race, but it worked out that they split the strategy. Unfortunately for them, GCK uncorrupted with a brilliant bit of strategy which put Baciuszka out in front. Perfectly entitled to do that. I feel Sabo was probably quicker, but great tactics. That's Rallycross.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Gronholm's proved the car is quicker, and Sabo was quick this morning as well, but that's just how it worked for him.
Brilliant drive by Gronholm. He's the target now.
Niklas, quickest time so far. How was it?
It was quite okay. I had a good launch and could have my own race, so it was fun. But still, we can improve, and the car wasn't feeling as good as it could. But yeah, happy to get a win.
Thank you, Kitos.
Markland pulls up to the line. Markland with a great run last time. Markland was P5, but only beaten by guys who, Dan, went in much drier conditions.
Yeah, of course. The guys in the final race from Q1 had that delay where Timozyanov broke the car. So, yeah, they had a drier track.
Sebastian Eriksson about to do his launch in the Honda. Such a different looking car, isn't it?
Sounds mean as well.
It does, yeah.
Listen to it rattling away.
Held it 3 times on the handbrake there.
Struggling to find the biting point, wasn't he, on the clutch there?
And the World Rallycross champion, Timmy Hansen. So, of course, that first session, the draw, random draw, they then choose where they go. They were choosing last night in the pouring rain in a tent, and they will have known it was a massive gamble on whether they went for the inside or a later race for track conditions. As it goes, you would have been way better off taking that outside slot. The last slot to go was the outside in race 4 of Q1 that Timo Scheider ended up in, and that was actually the place that you would have wanted to be, but they couldn't have known that. So, now a recovery job needed by the world champion and his brother, Ericsson, and Markland too. Here's the grid for race 3 of Q2. On the inside, Anton Markland had a brilliant run in Q1 to go 5th. Kevin Hansen, Sebastian Eriksson, last year's winner, and Timmy Hansen, world champion. There you can see the difference between the two Hansen cars. Yellow on the front of Kevin, blue on the front of Timmy. How's the start in that Peugeot? They've got new dampers, so's Markland. Everybody on the development trail. Good reaction time by Kevin Hansen. Sideways on that slot number 1 from Markland. Slot 1 not looking good in this session. Timmy Hansen gets pushed out wide. Kevin Hansen with a whole shot. Timmy going to go Joker. Markland's gone as well. So Markland goes sideways into the Joker. Timmy Hansen's with him. Kevin Hansen and Sebastian Eriksson out the standard lap. Dan, again, slot 1 just went backwards. Markland lost out big time. That could be a disaster for Kristoffersen in the last race.
Yeah, you could just see the car, again, the same as Szabo, squirrel a little bit off the line. That's that little bit of extra wheel spin he would have had compared to everybody else. I can see a little bit from the commentary position. I can see a damp patch there on grid slot number 1. So, yeah, Kristoffersen is going to have to try and nail his settings in the next race.
If anybody can nail them, Johan can. Kevin crossing the line. Sebastian, what could right nose to tail? What can you see?
Markland's already 1.9 behind. He's closing up fast.
Markland's impressive. I say development so hard, isn't it? That normally, Dan, as well, you'd have time with the development. They might have planned. They will have planned this development last year when they thought they were starting in March. We all did. I had my stats ready to start in March. COVID hit. Suddenly, some of these guys, of course, have been able to test because the regulations in Sweden here have been a bit different, so they've been able to go testing. But still, you've got this compressed start to the season. If you haven't got it right, the pressure's really on.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to make sure you've nailed your setting straight away. And to be honest, I think Markland looks like he's really nailed it. Look at the gap coming down. Yeah.
So Markland now 1.8 off. He's stolen another 10th away from it. I think it's closer than that as they cross the line this time. It comes down, back up to 1.9, so it's tidy between them.
Timmy Hansen gone at 44.3 lap time, so that's matching Gronholm.
Might even be quickest. Timmy Hansen right up there on the lap times. He goes, Eriksson goes Joker, and Timmy's going to come through. But Markland, what are Markland's lap times like? Markland with a
44.7.
44, yeah. Yes, 44.374 for Timmy. Kevin Hansen with a 1.9 second lead over Anton Markland. Can he pull off a miracle Joker lap on this last lap? 1.8, so Markland takes a 10th off him on the back half of the circuit. Kevin really pushing through the hairpin. You can hear him straining every last horsepower out of that car. Gonna go Joker now, is down to 1.7. Markland's nicked another 2/10 off him. Markland on the inside over the jump. Is Timmy gonna get him as well? Kevin versus Timmy. They went door to door here last year and Timmy's got him easily. So 2.8 down. I reckon the Joker is now 2.5 looking at that because Timmy was clearly in front.
Yeah, definitely. So it's the gap for the Joker's coming down. So, of course, the track's drying out even more.
We reckon it was 2.8 in the first session, now down to 2.5, we think. Because I say that gap was 2.8 and it clearly went the other way. So, Markland going to take this. Is it going to be enough to beat the previous time? 3:03.4 is the target. It's 3:03.0.
Fastest lap of the day on the last lap, 43.9 for Markland.
Wow, Anton Markland with an incredible drive. First man into the 43s. Pulled it out the bag when he needed it, didn't he? So Markland 3:03.0 goes quickest overall from Hansen and Eriksson. Niklas Gronholm holding on to P2. Close at the top of that table, but a brilliant drive by Anton Markland. The Renault Megane is looking awesome for Bilstein GCK. So Anton, look, super side. Don't forget the start, Dan. So he's just gone quickest of the weekend with the terrible start, but good tactics in the first. So here he's at the back of the pack. Ericsson's going to go standard, yeah, but committed to it early.
Yeah, you could see before he's even got to the braking point, he's alongside Kevin Hansen. So making that decision very early and on. And I think when you're on pole position and you've lost a start, you know you're going to have cars on your inside for turn 2. So I think naturally before the race, you're going to choose to go joker lap if you've lost the run into turn 1.
Sebastian Eriksson went joker slightly earlier, maybe to try and protect the position. I guess once they've looked at the lap times and realised he's losing out, but it was too late. Anton and Timmy had got him already. It was that last lap where Anton took a 10th, 2 tenths, the fastest lap of the weekend, the fastest time of the weekend, so it's advantage Markland.
Anton, you look pretty pumped with that. Quickest so far, how was it?
Yeah, so it's always a bit difficult to hear what you say, but I think that was a really good run from us. We did the right choice to go in the Joker lap 1, and we already catch them, I think, on lap 1. So that was, of course, really good. But I have to say the Megane is really nice to drive now in these conditions. I mean, it's so tricky out there with changing like the grip level where you place the car on track, and it's just so forgivable. So I'm just having a big smile on my face. 2 first qualifiers and 2 wins. So just hope that the lap times is good enough to score a solid result here in Q2 as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Markland happy with his performance. Not surprisingly, to lose the start and then come through fastest, but the way his confidence grew in that car through that, even through that race, conditions are not changing that quickly, and he was just going quicker and quicker.
He's going out there for the first couple of laps not quite knowing the grip levels, so come the end of the race, you've got a good idea. So
committing more and more to the braking zones and turning.
Yeah, finding your limits. You're going to start off at 80% on the first lap because you don't want to bin it.
98% maybe. and then, you know, you got it, particularly when you don't know where the wet patches are. There are none now. It's a fully dry track for these guys. The fastest 4 from the first session. Look how far over Johan is compared to the other drivers. So that the jump start mechanism would normally be right in front of the badge, and you can see he's right over to the side. So Timo Scheider, they're just relining up. Dan, that will be desperately trying to find the grip that we've seen missing for the previous 2 starters in that slot.
Yeah, if you look closely at that slot, just in front of the car, you can see a damp patch there that isn't in front of any of the others.
Final race of Q2. Here we go. Johan Kristoffersson starting the season as he finished a year ago, well, plus the 8-month delay. Amazing. So he won Q1, but Eckstrom was closing him down at the end of that race. Larson, we know he's fast. Timo Scheider there as well. The top 4 after Q1 about to round out Q2. So these guys showing us all on tyres which have had a run. We know Larson took wets in the first session, so maybe using a set of slicks he might have tried in practice. I would have thought it was all wet in practice. But let's see who hooks it up off the line. Brilliant start by Kristoffersson on the inside. Eckstrom trying to shut the door. Kristoffersson into the rear arch. Can't find a way through. Eckstrom with a whole shot. Larson's up the inside of Kristoffersson. Larson going to go wide. Pushes Kristoffersson into the joker. So Kristoffersson has had to go into the joker with Larson, and he's behind him now. Down, he's going to have to push like man to find a way past.
They have absolutely nailed that joker tactic. Team KYB JC. My goodness me, that was the perfect thing to do, wasn't it? Force Johan into the joker. He was always going to go once he lost the start, but to send Robin in front, that was, he's nailed it. They've nailed it.
You think pre-planned? It wouldn't surprise me with Eckstrom, because Eckstrom is absolutely bang on it with the tactics.
Yeah, that's going to be pre-planned, and well, we saw pace from Eckstrom on the last qualifying session. I'm really interested to see what he can do now. Now he's got clear air.
Well, they'd have to have known they were going to win the start, and they've obviously looked at the previous couple of ones. Johan got the best start of anyone in that grid slot from the last 3 races, but it still wasn't quite enough. So the Audis from JC making it tough for Kristoffersson. Not going to win this one, I think, unless he can find a way past Larson very quickly. What are Eckstrom's times like? 45.3 on the first lap's not enough of an indicator. We'll find out on this next lap just how quick he can go.
Kristoffersson's not really hassling Larson as much as you'd maybe think he would.
Well, Larson's getting on really well with this car. Larson in the updated version of the Audi. Previously, we always thought he was really into the old car. But he said this car needs driving differently, but it is definitely faster. Now Kristoffersen piles the pressure on, gives him a little nudge. I'm here, Robin. We haven't seen Kristoffersen had to race in the pack too much when he was here in 17 and 18. He's going to give it to them. It's all over the back, fastest lap of the day, Matthias Eckstrom, 43.9. So Eckstrom, this is going perfectly for him. Kristoffersen can't find a way past. Ekstrom's checking out front, and these guys now catching up to the back of Scheider. So ideally for Ekstrom, Scheider stays out there and Eckstrom can take the session.
Yeah, that would be perfect for them, but I mean, they're not catching Scheider up too quickly. I don't think they're going to end up in his traffic unless he makes a mistake.
Down that hill, a tiny bump coming onto the tarmac. Ekstrom is clear out front. This is a wonderful performance from the 2016 World Rallycross champion. I'm so stoked to have him back in the series. It was a last-minute thing. He's gone quicker again. 43.8. He is the master tactician. He is an unbelievable driver. He hooks it up over the curbs on both sides. It's inch perfect from Ekstrom. Both Larson and Kristoffersen get past Scheider, but Ekstrom is out front. Tell you what, Larson and Kristoffersen are not far behind, and they've been holding each other up, so I think both these guys have potentially got that pace as well. Ekstrom looking to take the session. 3:03.4.0 we think is the target time. Missing from our timing screen right now, so Ekstrom coming around to the last corner. He's surely going to do this. Look, just a few meters to go. Crosses the line. 3:01.5. The 2016 world champion wins Q2. It's 1-1 Kristoffersen and Ekstrom after 2 sessions. Timmy Hansen had better get in there for Q3, hadn't he? We've got a fight on our hands. There it is. Ekstrom takes Q2 race 4 from Larson. Brilliant tactics by Larson in the first corner. He'll be racing for himself, but Kristoffersen ended up behind him and could do nothing to get past. So Ekstrom quickest. Markland and Gronholm look in second and third. That's a wonderful performance from both those. But Matthias Eckstrom, the 2016 world champion, has struck back, and Kristoffersen down in P6. That's going to mean that Ekstrom's going to go to the top of the table. So this is the start. Look, Ekstrom, Larson. Look at Ekstrom, and Kristoffersen doesn't give up easily, Dan. We knew he wouldn't, but now Larson's already alongside him. At that point, Johan doesn't really have any choice but to go to the Joker from there, and the fact Larson's gone with him, he won't. These are all quick guys.
Yeah, they're all very quick, so they're not holding each other up too much, but Larson, he could see that Johan was on his outside, so Johan was always going to go to the Joker lap. But a perfect move for Larson to go in with him and have the inside line into the Joker. And
also to have the lead. Basically, you either want the lead of the standard lap or the lead of the Joker lap, particularly if you're in this race. If it's an earlier race, it's a risk to Joker early. But Larson knew he'd lost the start to his teammate, so you want to go Joker ahead of everybody else. If Kristoffersen had gone in there on his own, that might have been a different story.
Yeah, 100%. You would have given Kristoffersen the air he needed.
Fantastic performance from Matthias Eckstrom. It's 1-1.
Matthias, that was very impressive. Talk us through it.
Yeah, for me it was a great heat, and I had a good start, and then I could drive my own lines, and track is still very difficult, so we will have to try and read the condition all day long because it's changing all the time, but I really enjoy it, and that's most important.
Thank you. Tech.
See, this is the other thing, is there's no pressure on that man, Matthias Eckstrom. As far as he's concerned, he's here as a stand-in for Baumanis. He's having a bit of fun. We're not sure if Baumanis will be back. It looks later in the season, or are we going to see Eckstrom in for the whole season? We haven't had that much clarity on it, so yeah, amazing performance. Here are the standings at the end of Q2. And Matthias Ekstrom's fantastic performance in that session has seen him up to the top qualifier spot, TQ, if you're new to World Rallycross. Johan Kristoffersen is in P2. So we've got 3 World Championships between those two guys. Markland 3rd, Larson 4th, Gronholm up to 5th, Scheider is 6th, Timmy Hansen, Kevin Hansen 7th and 8th in the Peugeot. Sebastian Eriksson, last year's winner here, is in. Sabo's in as well, Bachuska and Munich. But look, Backrud and Timozyanov, they're right there. They want a spot in the semis. They got 1 session left to do it. Okay, deep breath.
That was basically a final, wasn't it?
It's good to be back, isn't it? It is good to be back. I hope you guys at home I'm thinking it's good to be back as well. Just what a mad start. Christopherson, Eckstrom, just brilliant. So excited. Right, here we go, Project E. So this is the Stard-built Ford Fiestas. We were due to have a Citroen here as well from Citroen Sport. Unfortunately, that car's going to have to debut at the next round of Project E. Ken Block, the Hoonigan himself, running a fantastic livery, number 43 on the side of the car, very familiar. I've been and had a chat with these guys about these cars. I've actually been lucky enough to visit Stard's factory as well and see them putting them together. Look at the amount of tyres. That's so Ken Block, isn't it? Just that one shot.
That shows how much torque these cars have, though.
So you instant 100% torque in the same time it takes for one beat of a butterfly's wings. That's how quickly you get the torque in an electric motor. So basically, where it with a petrol engine or a diesel engine, you need RPM. With an electric motor, the torque is instant from a hundredth of a second odd, 100%. So the starts are going to be interesting. We've got lots to tell you about them. Let's have a look at the grid. So it's Hermann Neubauer on the pole. He's the Austrian rally champion twice, once in a WRC car and once in an R5 car. Natalie Barrett, English driver who used to compete in national rallies in a Hyundai WRC car. She says this is a very different beast. And Ken Block on the outside. The Hoonigan back with Ford in the Ford Fiesta ERX from Stard. So all you can hear is the fans, which is mad. It just sounds completely different. We all know what everybody's thoughts are at home. Some people are excited about the technology and something new. Some people don't like the idea of there being no engine noise. But here we go, green light. Brilliant start by Ken Block on the outside, but look how much it lights the rear wheels up. You've got to wait for the line when it gets spun in the first corner. Neubauer into the side of Ken Block. Natalie Barrett around the outside. Block needs to avoid getting too deep in that gravel trap. So Neubauer with a little bit of contact. I think Bernard's a problem for Ken. Has he broken the car? It's a disaster if he has. Yellow flags are up for Ken. So is there something broken on that car? Dan, there's so much wheel spin from the back of the car.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? You don't really see the supercars smoking the tyres like that, and they touch the throttle and they light up and go. And I think that was probably why Ken had a little bit of a spin there, because he touched the throttle and it got
super sideways. So Neubauer, I spoke to Neubauer early on. He said it's more, as Ken has also said to Neil, it's kind of like a mid-engine car. So these cars have two motors in the rear, a battery pack down the whole of the right-hand side of the car, one motor in the front. Those motors can be motors from a road car. That's the point of the Stard car, is the manufacturers can come in and they can chuck in what we call an OEM motor from the road car. In theory, it's the same size, and therefore you can say this is the stuff that is in our road cars. First ever race for Project E. Obviously, we're hoping for more cars. COVID-19 has meant that hasn't happened. Great to see Ken here, but they're hard to drive, Dan. Not so much in the dry, but in the wet, they were really difficult.
Yeah, because they've got more weight than the supercar in different places. So the weight transfer in the car, when it starts to slide, it's a completely different feeling to what the likes of Ken would have been used to. So when it starts to slide, the weight of the batteries and the motor starts to take it with it, rather than being able to get on the gas and pull yourself out of it.
It was interesting as well, talking to Neubauer about it. Obviously, the front and the rear of the car are not connected. So with an internal combustion engine, you have a prop shaft which runs from the front, the gearbox, down the back, maybe through a diff, and into the rear end. But here, they're completely separate. So you're actually mapping either end of the car separately, and that's how you get the feel, instead of the front to rear differential. So they're having to learn completely new skills in terms of how they set the cars up too.
Yeah, it must be super tricky. I mean, we haven't seen too much racing of electric stuff, so it's all very, very new things to be learning for everybody involved.
Yeah, us, the drivers, you guys at home. Ken Block has had 20 laps in the car. He's 1.5 seconds off the pace of a supercar. In the dry, they're much closer to the lap pace of the supercars than they are in the wet. Now, the weight, Michael Sakovic from Stard this morning was talking to me. The reason these cars are a bit heavier, obviously battery and motors, but also the idea of this is that it's affordable. So an internal combustion engine for one of these cars, Dan, I think people at home are going to be a bit surprised to learn that they can be up towards 200,000 euros for an engine.
Yeah, just
an engine.
That's without a gearbox.
Yeah, so we're regularly hearing we were hearing 130 grand for an engine back in 2014, 2015. We know it's edging up further now. So these cars, you're looking at that type of cost for the entire 3 motors, the transmissions and everything. And this kit bolts into any current supercar. So that's why it's a bit heavier. It's not the highest spec of electric car that the World Rallycross Championship would have. We've got another spec above, which is scheduled to come in alongside internal combustion. Don't worry, we're not going to chuck internal combustion out. Neubauer's going to take the first ever Project E race, Austrian rally champion twice. I don't know if he's under investigation for anything. He's not at the moment. Ken Block's going to come round for second. Ken with a spin and then a recovery out the gravel trap. Didn't quite see what happened. Ken takes second. And Natalie Barrett coming over the jump. Now, too, a fair play to Natalie as well. She was talking about being on the phone to her kids and her kids asking her what lap times were. So a lot of respect to Natalie for getting here as a mum and coming racing. That's what we want to see. There you go. Right, first race done. Not a close one, thanks to turn one. We'll have a look back at the replays in a moment. Here's the result. Hermann Neubauer taking it with a 3:18.0, so they're way off the pace at the moment. Then it's Ken Block and Natalie Barrett. Okay, off the start look. So Ken gets away from the line, then lights the rear. Neubauer did as well, so he's a bit
Contact.
Yeah, but did Ken turn across Neubauer or did Neubauer drive through him? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure.
Ken turned in, didn't he? But
yeah, and then Neubauer, I don't know. No, they're both snaking. That's the problem.
Yeah,
they're both snaking with the wheel.
We saw they were both sideways, didn't we, off the line, even on the tarmac. That's the incredible. I think that's one of the things that's going to be absolutely key to electric starts is, you know, it's not about RPM, then it's about
throttle management.
Yeah, and that can be from the driver, but also the map of the the motors front and rear. Not ideal for Ken. Not the start he'd been looking for. Bit of gravel though, bit of extra gravel. 73% gravel for Ken on this one. So Neubauer with the win in Q1. These guys are running a normal weekend, so you're going to see Q2 later on in between the semis and the finals. And of course, then racing through to the conclusion of their first event tomorrow.
Hermann, go down in the history books as the first race winner for Project E, but there's damage at the front of the car. What happened?
Yeah, at the start, I don't know. I think I had quite a good start. Also, Ken had a good start. And the first entry of the corner, I think he closed the door quite hard, and it was impossible for me to brake so early. So we had some small contact on his span. So unfortunately, I don't know. I think I can't avoid it. So yeah. Quite lucky in this corner, but bad luck for Ken, so sorry for him, but okay, I can't do anything.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. Hermann Neubauer saying basically, Dan, look, I got a good start. Ken shut the door, there's nothing I can do, I can't break out of it. And he's right, he wouldn't have been able to drag it back 3/4 of a car length on the brakes. Ken will probably say the opposite, but he did also say, look, sorry, Ken, we both got a good start, that's the way it goes sometimes. And, yeah, I don't know, there's no investigation, so, you know, that says to me racing incident, unless somebody goes to, once you can't go and see the clerk of the course either, they have to do it via WhatsApp, thanks to COVID.
Yeah, but, I mean, the starts are a learning curve for everyone as well. Nobody knows how well you can get away with a start, what the proper tactic is, if you like.
Yeah.
So where they're both squirreling down to the first corner, it's just, I think it was just one of those things which you're gonna have to learn to curve yourself around.
Well, there we go. Interesting Q2. That's the first ever race, Q1, of course, for Project E, but a brilliant performance in Q2 by Matthias Eckstrom. So Eckstrom is currently the top qualifier. This is absolutely wide open. We've still got the weather to get in the mix later on today, so we'll leave you with Neil.
Yeah, well, the grandstands may be empty and we are missing you guys, but the action has been plentiful. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, we'll be back again for Q3 for the Worlds and Euros. We'll be back for Q2 of Project E. And of course, later today, there will be semis and a final for round 1 of the 2020 FIA World Rallycross Championship. So make sure you stay with us all day. But from us for now, thank you for watching and goodbye.